The thing is, there are no truly good and truly bad things.
What if, like...
There are only people's perceptions of those things.
How many of you were told, find a woman who wants to fucking achieve a mission with you and get on purpose and do something meaningful in the world? Who cares about the fantasy romance shit? Who told you that? I did, just now. Listen to me.
I have a question, if you don't mind me asking, because you're a smart guy, and it's mostly philosophical in nature, about guilt.
Okay. If you do feel guilty, it's because you've injected a moral authority into the equation, and now you're comparing yourself against the morals and ethics of that authority, and it's no longer directly about the person who you never had the experience with. So you think that somehow you've lost the graces of a moral authority or a moral idealism by doing the quote-unquote bad thing, that if they were to know about it, you would then be wrestling with the moral authority and your perceived malicious intent.
But what if the thing that you tried to do was, like, trying to punch somebody is not a good idea, then you shouldn't do it?
No, I don't subscribe to that. If you did punch somebody, then I guarantee you there's a way that served that person. So if you did punch a person and you perceive that you only caused them harm by doing so, then you will feel guilt.
But aren't there just some things that are... There's got to be one thing that is always bad.
There's not one thing out of balance in the whole universe, not one thing.
There's probably hidden good to a lot of things that people perceive to be bad. But I'm not sure that I would say in all cases.
I don't need you to say it. I would need you to look. And if you were to actually look, I guarantee you that you would find benefits. It's not an intellectual experience. It's a literal examination of the data and the asking of the question, not were there benefits, what specifically were the benefits to that person? Because you're just extrapolating your perception of what they would feel if they did get punched, because you have an experience previously where you hurt somebody that you haven't seen the benefits to them of, that you're carrying guilt around, and now you're going to project that guilt onto all the future experiences.
There was an ill intention that, looking back on it, I can safely say I shouldn't have done that.
Because you're imagining what harm?
Well, nothing, as it turns out, unless they know about it.
Right.
So
then you have to get into the imaginary harm and ask, what harm am I imagining for that person? There's also the component that in order to label what you did do as wrong, you have to be projecting a fantasy of what you preferred it to be, that you believe would have been a better outcome. Oftentimes it's the polar opposite of what you did do. You think you should have done the opposite.
Yes.
If you had done the opposite, what would be the drawbacks of that? Because the only reason you have that fantasy is because you believe that it would have been greater benefits than drawbacks. So you have to ask, what would the drawbacks be if the fantasy situation were to have occurred? To then mitigate...
But are there benefits to a violation of someone's trust?
You cannot violate somebody's trust. You can only trust someone to operate according to their values, which moment by moment is going to be their interpretation of what is going to bring them the greatest reward over risk, or the benefit, or the greatest benefit over challenge. So the idea of trust has to be redefined. Instead of, I trust this person to do as I expect, and when they do something I didn't expect or don't like, then they're not trustworthy. That's how the world works. Which is another way of saying, as long as you support my values, I like you. And as long as you challenge my values, fuck you. So there's no trust, there's no betrayal, because you can't betray someone's trust, you can only betray their values. Trust is a moral concept, it's an idea, I've always got your back. No, you don't. The minute it becomes more advantageous to not have my back, I don't expect you to have it. So you're afraid of losing them because you perceive that you've challenged their values. If they were to find out about it, you perceive there's some risk, and then therefore you stand to lose something. So really, it's a selfish inquiry.
Okay.
Plus, you have a perception that you could have caused them harm only because you haven't done the work to ask how would it serve them by me doing that. And if you truly do that work, then you'll find, okay, I'm grateful because I don't need it to be different. I see how I played my role. I see how I served them. I see how they were served. I see how I supported and challenged their values. Like, to me, the thing that is like that I'm so impatient about is that there's no question to me that there are benefits. So as long as your head is on the desk and you're living in the world of, I've only done harm, not good, you're slowing everything the fuck down. Can you just find the benefits? How specifically did we get a return on our investment? And the question that would be wiser for all of us to ask is, are these the combinations of benefits and drawbacks we'd like to foster for the mission? Every one of these emotion-driven conversations is a byproduct of an imbalanced perception where we're deciding and we're reacting to a one-sided perspective that is incomplete and not having all the data. Jen, I've just realized that this building is where I did my karate. The part of me is like, let me play the emotions game with you guys, and can we all have a collective agreement here that all of our emotions are wrong? Like, I'm not saying don't be emotional, I'm saying be emotional with a commitment to find the blessings. The probability of this campaign never working is 0.
Right.
Like, it's a function of time times money times optimization. It's going to be more like, okay, this landing page play is working.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be, is it worth specializing landing pages?
Like a kitchen one.
Kitchens,
Right? So let's prove this and then say, okay, as a templated strategy, is it then worth the additional input to move into specializations in which ones?
Right.
And then to layer on everything else. Any ROI of 1 point something plus, keep it. All of us here are certain it ultimately will be a ROI +1.
Okay.
Just when, right? Imagine a machine that fills this whole whiteboard with 2,000 variable customer paths on it, interacting with 30 different campaigns. Like, to the point where you actually can't even measure the impact one campaign has on the other anymore. It's just the whole fucking thing produces 8 times ad spend.
Right.
That's where we want to be, is through the specific data back into the abstract in the profitable way.
He's a community.
Even I get that. I'm the robot, and I get that people buy because of the people.
Good analysis,
so many
robot.
of them.
Thank you. Thank you. I apply the Demartini method.
Know your values. Do the work.
Hey guys, thank you for watching Daily Genius number 84. Hopefully you found that little discussion about guilt interesting. I'm going to try and keep my own personal problems out of the blog tomorrow, I promise. So no more of that. I'm going to go back to being my happy, joyful self. Ha ha ha. No, but I put it in because I thought you guys would get something from it, because I got something from it. So hopefully you did too. All right, so make sure and leave a comment if you want. Make sure to share this video, please. Give it a like if you like it. And we'll see you tomorrow for Daily Genius number 85. Thank you.
Things are just going to happen to me. My interpretation of that is a bunch of bullshit, mostly.